There he is.
What's going
He's
on?
here, y'all. He's here. He made it. Thank you so much. Melvin, thank you. I really appreciate you doing the show. Thank you so much for
Oh
coming
man,
on. How are you doing
thanks for
today?
having me. I'm
Oh,
doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing like I'm in that mode of just like perpetual motion right now. It's like I hasn't haven't stopped. I can only imagine it's like that for you, but like times 1,000 because you are who you are. You've been doing a lot of amazing things. Like we started the show out with some footage from you were performing with Kirk Franklin, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh man, and Kirk Franklin's an amazing artist, and just like
Absolutely.
I mean, he has to be the king of the gospel world, right? Like I
Yes.
think he's on
Yes,
top.
he is one of the godfathers of gospel music.
Yeah.
Definitely a legend in his own right.
What was that like to sort of be trading riffs and trading runs with one of the greats?
Oh, that feeling is always going to be, unexplainable, like incredible. You know, growing up, like a lot of the legends and gospel artists that I grew up to, like who like made life happen for me.
Yeah.
Being able to sing with them, share a stage with them, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine. No, especially in that moment, and you're sharing the stage, and I'm sure there's way more people involved in the gospel world that I'm just not
Yeah,
familiar with. I enjoy gospel, but I'm not like someone who's like hardcore in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I played gospel music in a church for like a few months, and that was amazing. It was like boot camp for me.
Whoa.
Yeah, it changed the way I looked at music because I mean, you know how it goes. Like you're trying to find the key as the deacon is hooping and stuff, and you're just trying to, you know what I mean? Like it was that whole experience, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like the Baptist church and gospel music. I think that is if I was gonna go hardcore into a religious, a non-secular, or is that no, a secular path. I think I would go
Hmm.
that path. What's up, Naders? Welcome in. Because it's just such a lively environment. I mean, it's like all morning long. Everybody's on their feet. I mean, everyone's sweating by the time they leave church. I absolutely loved it. You could just feel the spirit in there. So I don't know. I forgot what we were even talking about. Why did I even start talking about? And, but wait, oh yeah, I remember what we were talking about. Oh, you're sharing the stage with all these folks, but in this moment, like when you're about to go on stage and you know you're gonna go sing with a legend, are you nervous? Are you scared? Or what's the feeling in that moment for you?
I mean, anxiety is at an all-time high.
You can
You
ignore that,
know,
Melvin. Just
Oh
push
no,
right
you're
through
good.
that. Push right
Let
through.
me just say this. I love absolutely all of this show right now. It's completely amazing.
I
So shout
appreciate
out
that.
to everybody who's watching. You guys are hilarious.
Movie
Um,
Dutchman, thank you,
but
my friend. I appreciate you.
but yeah. So nervous is definitely a word. Like I get nervous all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me why because it's so talented. This and the third. For me it's different because you have so many things to think about, like what you're about to do, why you're doing it, making sure that your heart is right, your spirit is right
Mm.
for what you're about to do, meaning ministering to people, and then you want to make sure your skill is to par, for
Yeah,
the night, like
of course.
whatever you have to do, you want to make sure you execute well. So all of that stuff like piled into one, nerves everywhere. But I find a way to get through it. Typically it's like when I start singing, there's just like a shift, and
Yeah.
I can the nerves leave. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it is that really cool thing with music or performance where it's like you could be so nervous and then once you're in it, it's like you're just transported to another location. Like you're just in
right,
another dimension because all that
yeah,
sort of falls away and you're just in this moment. And
hmm,
that's what's so beautiful about art and music and I mean even like prayer is that it sort of brings you to center, it brings you to presence, right? Like I
absolutely,
feel like that's such a huge thing for people. the thing that people are missing a lot these days is trying to find that place of presence. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, of course. It takes a lot of work and it takes relationship to be able um, to move effectively
Mm.
in the right way. Um, and so, the struggle, we struggle a lot. A lot of people struggle with it, in their everyday lives. Everybody has their own story,
Yeah.
their own situations, things that they deal with on the inside from a day to day basis. So it's all about, you and the Father just taking that and dealing with it together.
Mm.
It's relationship, and you always should allow your relationship to show when you're when you're ministering, because it's important. The anointing is what makes a difference in every situation when it comes to this faith. If you would say that, it's basically having God's hand and being close to Him, and like just opening your ear and your heart to what He wants to say to His people through you.
Mm.
Like I never want to be an artist that is just skilled. I want to have the anointing of Jesus upon me so that I can minister to people,
Mm.
that I can, save souls, lead people back to Jesus. That is the entire reason why I do this.
Mm.
So
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Have you ever thought about taking was it non secular path? That's right. It's non secular would be outside of religion, right? Is that right?
No, no,
Secular music. Thank you. Non
secular is
secular is
outside.
religion. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Um,
I get mixed
I
up.
I will say this. The doing gospel music, Christian music, kingdom music, is what I want to do. That I
Hmm.
just know that is my path.
Yeah.
But at the same token, um, at the end of the day, I love music. I bless God every day for just the gift of music. So I would love to do different covers, different situations like country music,
Hmm.
jazz. I'll do pop. It's just of course, it just has to go with what I'm comfortable with,
Yeah, of
in my own
course.
space. But music is just what I love. I
Yeah.
love taking from different genres and putting it to what I know and using it for gospel music because it creates an entirely new thing. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned doing music, doing secular music that makes you feel comfortable. Is there any secular music right now that is makes you feel uncomfortable? Like anything in pop music right now that is sort of makes you uncomfortable? What sort of subjects and things?
I wouldn't necessarily say uncomfortable. There are some songs that are just like a little off the edge, but I listen to all types of music, and I don't disrespect it because that's art for people. Even though a lot of different genres we don't share the same faith. That's still art.
Yeah.
That's their art. That's
Mm.
what makes them happy. So of course, I'll accept it. But there are a lot of things in my day to day that I don't listen to. Like I'm not the biggest rap person.
Hmm.
Like I love rap. Like, there's a lot of rap songs
Yeah.
that I do know. Like now, growing up, like because everybody sings the songs, my friends and stuff. Like
Right.
no, learn the song. But there, I'm not. I'm really like open to hearing, pretty much anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I feel that, man. Yeah, like there used to be this idea in my head that if it wasn't this kind of music that I liked, it sucked or it stunk, like, and it's like, or
Yeah.
it's bad music, and I've just come as I gotten older and been in this business for so long. It's just like, man, it's just music, and there's a place for it for like there's a fan for it somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And either way, you're still tapping into something, I don't know, divine. I feel like when you're even if you're playing secular music, you are tapping into something unknown. And if you want to label it divine, that's fine too. But like, I do feel like you are tapping into something bigger than you, and you are sharing that with people, and that's beautiful, whether it's non secular or secular.
Hmm.
When you see stuff like, I don't know, like I asked Doe this. Are you familiar with Doe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Love her. Love her.
she's amazing. I asked Doe the same thing, but like when you see like I don't know, I know you said you're not a big rap guy, so like you might just be checked out of that whole scene. But when you see things
Hmm.
like Travis Scott, for instance, had this thing called Astro World, and it was in Texas, and there were some tragedies. But one of the big things that people are sort of pointing out is the imagery that he chose, and because it was all like demons, is very satanic. And then you have songs like like WAP, for example. Uh,
Hmm.
what, how do you feel about how do you feel like that affects society? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it's an okay thing? Like, how do you feel about these sort of songs and when you see these imageries coming to the mainstream and stuff? How does that make you feel? What do you think about that?
In my opinion, and this is just my personal
Yeah, of
opinion
course.
according to what I believe.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's not a good thing, especially for, that satanic, demonic presence to be broadcasted as such,
Mm.
to people, because um, there are so many souls, that are at stake. That could be on the brink of, like, technically life or death, and just by seeing that, like, whatever it was, that could cause a break in the wrong direction.
Mm.
Like, we want to lead people back to Jesus, or, for the time being, if we can't get them to Jesus fast enough, keep them away from, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And even still, that stuff is broadcasted. You have kids, kids are so vulnerable spiritually. They are literally like sponges. So what they see, they're going to soak in and they're going to show.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful about, and even if you don't share the same faith as I do, like, do you really want a child anywhere? Do you really want a child to be associated with what you're doing,
Yeah.
if that makes sense?
Oh, it does.
Um,
It does. Please continue.
yeah, so that's kind of my take on it. It's not a good thing for me.
No, I
So.
dig it. I dig it. And I agree. I mean, in my head, because I am an artist and I do lean towards that like open mindedness to like everything. Because
Mhm.
there was a time in my life where I was a fan and I still am to some extent of like Marilyn Manson. And he was very well
Mhm.
known for projecting those sort of imagery and it's been sort of this thing. It's that kind of imagery, like satanic or even sex, like WAP, for instance.
Yeah.
These things have always been sort of used to push and market, artists and stuff. And so in my head, I kind of give it a little bit of freedom where it's like, well, this is just artistic expression. But then at some point, you have to realize that yeah, people are impressionable, right? And if you're just letting your kids listen to WAP, and this is what a young lady thinks is the right way to live, which I'm not saying it's not. You want to live however you want to
Mhm.
live, do your thing, bucket in a
Yeah.
mop, baby, do your thing. But it's like but still, if that's what little kids, little girls are listening to, or if little boys are seeing people, loving the devil and doing all this crazy stuff, people are impressionable. And the problem is that parents, not all parents are involved in or are that involved where they're protecting their kids. So it's just
Yeah.
one of those situations where it's like we have to rely on personal responsibility for parents and for kids who are listening to this. And
Mhm.
maybe personal responsibility on behalf of the artist, but not all art is made for all people. So, I don't know. It's a weird place for me because on one hand, I definitely agree that kids are soaking this up. But then on the other hand, the way I see things with art is like, well, this is just their art. I don't
Yeah.
know. How does that fall in your ears?
I mean, for me, it all goes back to the message behind the art.
Mm-hmm.
That, and a lot of kids, there can be a lot of subliminal messages. I just don't believe that, children should be exposed to that sort of thing. Not and like, of course, people are going to live how they want to live unless they are led somewhere where they're willing to go.
Mm.
Um, but and I'm not just limiting this to children. But speaking of children, the children are our future.
Yeah.
How do you want our? Is this what you want our future to look like?
Mm.
Is
Yeah.
this what you want to see, like in the future? How will a child that is associated with this handle us as a whole in the future?
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, and that is a thing. I mean, I have a son, and
Mm-hmm.
I want him to consume things that are wholesome, and if he does see something that maybe he doesn't understand, it's like, well, I'm there to make sure that he does understand it, and
Yeah,
the way that me and my wife sort of we raise our child, we are in his business. You know what I mean? Like he
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
get to have like his little secrets and stuff. I mean, so like we are very much in his business, and I don't think everyone has the time to do that. Like we also homeschool our
Mm-hmm.
sons, so like there's also the
Okay.
influence of others at school that's sort of eliminated with that as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I mean, it's good, and he's well, mannered, and he's grown up with kids around him, so he's not like all shy or anything at all. But it's I don't think that people have the time or the energy to put into their child like that all the time, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree. It's like I think that having kids absorbing that information, that's just everywhere all the time, it's probably not a good thing considering that they are the future. um, but yeah, there's a time and place for art. I feel like as well, and this is just me getting older, and I feel like as I get older, I'm looking at the world in a little bit more of a narrow view, and
Mm-hmm.
like I'm seeing what it is to be a parent. I'm seeing what it is to raise another human being, and seeing how that human being is going to affect the world, and um, you know, I've gotten a little bit more, like I said, narrow-minded in certain ideas. It's like, no, not every child should be singing "Bucket and a Mop, Wop, Wop, Wop," whatever, Like, not every child
Yeah,
should be going to Astro World and seeing demon Satan things everywhere, or listening to
yeah,
music or watching shows that are inappropriate, because there's no reason for them to be thinking about that right now. I mean, they should be learning how to be a person, not like learning all this crazy stuff. But then also, you can't overprotect your children. How are you? How were your parents with you? Were you were they strict? Were you I mean, I know that both of your parents were very religious, obviously, but they were also in the music industry, in the gospel music industry. So how was your parents? How was growing up with you? Were they strict, or were you just a good kid, they didn't need to discipline? Like, how was that for you growing up?
well, for me, they were. So, I think this goes with a lot of kids. You know, my dad was the more lenient one with me. I'm the only child, so
Okay.
he was more lenient with me until it was it was something that um, was like a core lesson for me,
Mm.
like responsibility, lying. Like
Mm.
I was not a golden child. I'll just say that. Like I got in trouble a lot
Hey.
for doing a lot of dumb things. But that's most kids.
Yeah.
And growing up with them, yes, it was very. It, I couldn't do a lot of things. Like, I couldn't go hang out with friends all the time. A lot of my friends would get to go to different places, different concerts and different things. I was the one that could not go. My parents were very protective over me. I wouldn't say overprotective. Now, my mom, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion,
Yeah. Yeah. Please.
she could be overprotective at times. But I think all mothers that love their sons and sons that love their mothers, they butt heads. And that's just how the wind blows. So we used to, like, mom, like, how I am, I'm responsible enough to at least do this. And, like, she would say no. I had to My mom played a joke on me. It was really, like, I got so upset one time. I had to go sing somewhere. And my mom had, agreed to let me go by myself. It was in, the local area and whatnot. Literally got dressed for the event. The event started in about an hour, was running a little late. Went to my mom to tell her I was headed out, and she told me I couldn't go. And
Oof.
it was just so bad. But luckily, it was a joke. But
Oh.
it was she made me like 20 minutes later because she actually made me believe that
Oh my
I couldn't
God.
go. So it was like stuff like that. Like she wanted me to know like if I say you can't go, even if it's 5 minutes before, you can't go.
Yeah.
So it was that type of stuff. So growing up was a little interesting. I was homeschooled too
Cool.
for a while. I went to 4 different high schools, which was insane. But I couldn't listen to a lot of rap music. I couldn't listen to a lot of R&B. I would, we played gospel. My dad put me on to Harry Connick Jr. My mom, one of her favorite artists was Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
that's how I got introduced to jazz and that whole, different genres aspect of, what I do. So growing up was interesting, but cool. It was great. It was great.
You were homeschooled, and then you said you switched schools. What was it? Just because your family traveled a lot because of the business, or was there a different reason?
Actually, to be honest, so it started around middle school. I was bullied very bad in
Oh,
middle school.
oh,
Um, so my mom pulled me out of middle school at the let's see 7th grade. And I finished the year out homeschooled, did my 8th grade year homeschooled, graduated homeschool from middle school.
mm,
Then for my freshman year, I went to a private high school. And then my sophomore year, I went to a charter school, different school. Then my junior year, I went to a different private school.
mm.
And then my senior year, I was homeschooled again, um, which was, yeah.
And that was because of the severe bullying. All those changes.
Well, really, no, no. Really, the middle school was the bullying. That
Mm,
was the like when I was bullied the most. I mean, every kid gets picked on at some point in high school. So it wasn't because of that. My parents did, move around a lot. They actually separated
mm.
before they both passed, and it was just a lot of moving around. So I had to switch from this school. Then there was problems with like administration at another school, and my parents wanted to pull me out, so they did that, and it was a lot. It was a lot that went
Yeah,
on during
yeah.
high school.
No, no, man, I switched schools a lot too, and mostly because it
Really?
was my behavior, because I was just obnoxious and just doing the most. But yeah, I know how that is, man. There's just that unstable. There is something that is unstable about that. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
like to not be able to grow up in like in a school district and know like the same kid you went to kindergartner with, and now you're
Yeah.
40 and you guys are sharing a beer or whatever. I never had that. I never had that kind of connection with people. This is sort of lifelong thing with another person.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I got bullied too. I was
Mm-hmm.
way
Okay.
overweight. I was like 320 some pounds in high school and stuff. So it's like,
Wow.
so I would get bullied, but I was lucky enough that I developed a sense of humor and was able to sort of like flip it, and then I was
Yeah.
able to sort of own it, and people, sort of garnered respect in that way. But
Same here.
yeah, I mean, it's just sort of survival skills, man. Because like you gotta high school and school. That's a treacherous grounds, man. Those are treacherous grounds. Kids are cruel, awful little
I was gonna say. I was
beasts.
saying all the time. Kids are mean, man. Kids
They're
are
the
the
worst.
worst.
They're
Like
the,
it's so bad.
and they carry diseases. It's like you don't got no reason to be mean. You're like you'll give me COVID and you without even knowing, punk.
Right. Right.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. But no, I'm sorry to hear that you had to deal with that as a kid, man. That's tough. I know that's not easy, especially you seem like a sensitive person and you're an artist. Obviously, for
Yeah.
you're artists, we're sensitive people about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
it's tough in those things. Do you have you always dealt with anxiety? Is that always been an issue for you?
No, actually, and I don't deal with anxiety too bad, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really had a panic attack or anything like that. But um, I guess around the time, when so after my mom passed,
Mm-hmm.
I like went to college like a week after her funeral. Well, maybe like 2 weeks after her funeral,
Wow.
which was the worst decision I ever made in life. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize it until, you know, almost 2 years later that I literally should not. I should have like took the time to grieve
Yeah.
and just try to heal from that because that was a heavy loss for me. Um, so a lot of things started happening. I had to kind of be an adult, kind of be at school and try to take care of my own life, from back home and family and different things like that. So I started getting anxious about a lot of things. It was hard. It was hard. But I have a better handle on things, of course,
Mm.
now years later, getting close to 10 years later. So God is good. He's been good. He's been keeping me. So yeah.
Did you like I know that there's I don't know. Did you like seek therapy or anything, or did you find like therapy, quote unquote therapy within the church? Like how were you able to sort of get a better handle on your anxieties? I have anxiety too. I'm medicated,
Yeah.
man. Like I had to like straight up take chemicals just so I could not be like
Oh man.
which is terrible. It was something I never wanted to do, but no, whatever. And anyways,
So,
how did you sort of get a handle on this?
so I honestly, and it's crazy. I am actually, for the first time, about to meet with a therapist
Oh,
within a few weeks.
oh,
Never
cool.
met with a therapist before, so I'm excited about it, nervous about it.
Yeah,
I know I'm probably gonna cry a lot, as most people do.
me too.
But yeah, um, but it was really, really my relationship with God that, got me through that. I believe God uses people. He sends people, so that His children can be taken care of. And so, with my family, my extended family, my church family, they really, they were all my rock, like here on earth.
Mm,
Who helped me get through. Like if I needed food, if I needed money, like if I needed, something, if I needed to just talk, to vent, to anything I needed, I was always taken care of, and I knew it was God, just taking care of me because, a lot of people would ask, why, God, why would you take my parents from me at such a young age?
mm.
Like I barely graduated high school. So it's so many questions, so many confusing questions. But when you get to a certain point and you realize that you're still here, you're still in your right mind, you look back and say, God did all of that for a reason. It was for me, to better me. Even though I had to suffer some loss, I know my gain is going to be so much greater in Him. And literally, my life to this point is a testimony of that. So it's 110% true, that, God just rewards those if you stay with Him,
Mm.
stick with Him, communicate with Him, because He wants that. He understands, like He allows us to go through so that we can get closer to Him,
Mm.
um, and get closer to others, like share His love. So that's why I testify. Like I'm here now, I can minister to people who have lost their parents at a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I can help them. What if I never wanted to commit suicide, thank God, but what if there's somebody that's in my situation that wants to do that? But I've been through it. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I can help you. Hold my hand. Like, let me lead you. Let me help you. And that's why I think God allows us to go through certain things so we can help somebody else too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't share that, to share that belief in God in that sense, I think that people can sort of, if you're paying attention in those darkest hours, there's always sort of a little light at the end of the tunnel. And you can call that God, you can call that, destiny, whatever you want to label it. It does seem like when we come to our darkest hours and we're staying true to yourself and you're following or you're staying true to God, however you want to frame it, you do find that things get better. Like you hit rock bottom, and it's like that old saying, right? Like you can only go up from the bottom, right? Like it's just
Yep.
you're in your darkest moments, and it seems like if you can stick to it, if you can sort of stay true to yourself and stay true to sort of your moral compass or your faith, I do feel like you are rewarded. Universe, God, whatever, rewards those who stick with it and have their darkest hours. Man, it's just time after time after time, loss after loss. It always seems like something incredible comes out of it, and it's horrible. Like I lost my father as well, and a
I'm
few.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, likewise, man. I know it's tough. It's not easy to lose the
Mm,
patriarch or the matriarch for that matter. I mean, my
yeah.
goodness. But it's uh, like in that moment where he was on his deathbed, there was just so much stacked against me in life. And
Mm,
then, but out of that came like my sobriety, my child, like my loving
mm,
relationship. You know what I mean? Like it just made me focus more on, on being a better human being instead of just making these same stupid mistakes that I make all the time. So it was just this incredible amount of pressure that ended up creating like a diamond path. So like
yeah.
I really, it sucked that loss happened, but it's God or the universe is testing, right? They're testing us to see if we can, if we're going to crumble and submit, or if we're going to rise above. And I always love to hear when people rise above, like yourself. Um, how long was it when you? How long was it? Like after the loss of your parents, was it where your career in gospel music and secular music started to take off?
Um, so my mom passed July of 2016. So my parents were heavily involved
Mm,
in the gospel music industry since I was born, since before I was born.
yeah,
So I really kind of grew up in the gospel industry.
got you.
Even before they passed, I started to, take engagements. People would have me come sing every now and again, different places.
Mm,
But when I reached a different point in about 2019 when I went to Sunday Best. That was
mm.
kind of just like a stepping stool for me to actually get my own foot into the industry, if that
Can
makes sense.
For people that don't know what Sunday's Best is, could you just give them a quick explanation of what it is?
Yes, Sunday Best is the gospel version of American Idol or The Voice or America's Got Talent.
Yeah, it's a great.
It's the gospel industry version of that. So it was a competition. It started off with 20 contestants, and yeah, I made it all the way. I still look back and be like, I don't know how I did it because I have no clue. But I'm grateful to God that He allowed it to happen. So
Yeah. Now, is it like American Idol where the audience chooses or helps choose, or is it more the judges on the show?
yes, it's a little bit of both.
Mm.
So when we were at 20 contestants, they didn't have an audience when we all auditioned, basically. So they eliminated 10 people in one night.
Mm.
The judges did. And then uh, every week until the final two, the judges did eliminate, from there. But then at the final two, America got to vote, have their vote and say,
Mm.
who do you want to be the winner?
Yeah.
And so everybody, voted. We both petitioned, everyone to say, hey, finalists on Sunday Best.
Yeah.
Please, please, please vote for me. You can vote like 90 times a day. Tell your
Oh,
family, tell
that's
your
so
friends, just vote,
cool.
vote, 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 vote. So,
Heck yeah.
yeah.
Heck yeah. So okay, so your career was already on its way before your parents even passed, because that you've just been involved in the business just for so long. I'm sorry to call it a business. I realize it
Well,
is a business. Uh,
it's a business.
I know it's a business, but I'm not trying to disparage what you do at all by
I don't know.
dirtying it with the talk of money. But money is involved, folks. But yeah, I was reading about your dad, and he did a lot of composing on his own right, and I saw this tribute to him, and Corey Henry, who is an
Yes.
amazing organist and plays with a snarky puppy. That's where I know him from. Mighty,
Yeah,
mighty. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Hold
you're
on.
good.
I'm sorry. Right. We're talking about this sensitive thing. Mighty, mighty. We will put a wig on, but I want to get his. I want to get Melvin's response first. So I will get a wig on, y'all, and I'm gonna make this smaller because it keeps interrupting our conversation. Nope, I didn't do it right. Hold on, let me make. I guess that's just how it is. Okay, well, in any case, that's gonna happen for a little bit.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. So, what can you kind of tell people how what your dad did, and I mean how a tribute, it was a beautiful tribute too, and what exactly your dad did, and who he's worked with, and we might not know any of the names you mentioned, but I just like to get the names out there, and and see
Yes,
who's in the.
absolutely. So my dad was Melvin Crispell Jr.
Mm.
He was a world-renowned organist, my favorite organist, and I'm not just
Oh.
being biased. The man was a musical genius, also a songwriter. He was not a singer at
Mm.
all, but he was an amazing songwriter as well. If anybody listens to gospel, he is written for Hezekiah Walker, Timothy Wright, James Hall in Worship and Praise, and many others. He was well known in the gospel industry. Corey Henry, he grew up, if I'm not mistaken, and Corey, if you see this and I'm wrong, tell me. But Corey Henry, I believe he started playing when he was 3 years old. And of course, I think they were from the same area,
Mm.
if I'm not mistaken. So my dad, I think Corey would kind of look at my dad sometimes and kind of pick up certain things, tips here and there.
Heck
I
yeah.
don't know if it was any like personal
Mm.
personal connections like that, but I do know that they knew each other.
Yeah.
And so that tribute was at my dad's one of my dad's funeral events,
Mm.
because he was such a musical guy. He had a funeral as well as a celebration just with music and different artists just showing their appreciation and love for him. So he got up there. I was not expecting it,
Mm.
and I literally almost fell out because Corey Henry is not from planet Earth, and the way he just colored that moment was just
Yeah.
out of this world. So Corey, if you ever see this, love you, man. Thank you so much for that. Even though it was years ago, thank you so much.
No, I absolutely agree. Like there was a point in there where I don't I think he just did a real quick slide with the drums, with a quick clap, and the volume came down on everything, and then he like there was just this moment where the hair is raised on the back of my neck, and I'm
Yeah,
just like, wow,
yeah,
it's so powerful, and
yeah,
I mean that's just why gospel music is just so powerful too, because it breeds like some of the greatest musicians ever, right? Like it's just
yeah,
I mean, my gosh, the amount of musicians that came up in the church, and it's like when a church player um, can knows like theory and knows all the, and grew up in the church. It's like you got this unstoppable machine that just doesn't quit, man, and it's just so cool. I always
doesn't
love.
quit.
I mean, I wish I was I. It was to the point where I was like, man, if only I wouldn't have came up Catholic. A Catholic is just like this, like whole like Ricola. It's like I'm not trying to besmirch the good people in the Catholic Church, but it's boring. It's boring, friends. It's boring, and especially if your priest doesn't have much to say, and they're just like, I mean, I think it's like that for everybody, but I do look at it as like a performance. You know what I mean? Like like preachers, and in any sense, it is sort of a performance, right? There's lights, there's dressed up, there's outfits, there's incense, the lighting's nice, the sound is dialed in, right? It's like a whole thing. So if
Yeah,
if someone doesn't go up there and give me a good performance, then I'm just so bored. And that, I'm talking about the Catholic Church now. Like,
Yeah,
if you don't have anything real to say, then it's just boring for me. I just feel like you're just phoning it in.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, that whole tribute thing was absolutely incredible. And Corey Henry laid it down, of course.
yeah, yeah.
So you have some cool things coming. Oh, wait a second, I got to put on a wig. Melvin, give me
Oh, do it,
Melvin,
do it,
vamp
do
for us, Melvin, vamp. Keep the kids
it.
entertained.
Well, people, while he's going to get his wig, I honestly, I honestly don't know what to say. I guess thanks for having me on here again. I'm so glad to be here. This podcast is amazing. I love the space theme and everything that's going on. And I am rambling. You guys are hilarious with all these gifs, gifts, whatever you call them. Okay, he's back. Oh man, that is a wig.
I think it's on backwards. All right. It's
That is actually perfect. You are like an entirely different person.
Yeah, I went and got a permanent. Yeah, that's how I'm
You ain't
doing it.
got
That's how I'm doing it, yo. I'm out here, folks. Mighty, thank you so much for putting us over our goal. We hit it again. You guys are just incredible. Thank you guys so much. We hit our daily goal, and those extra two subs will go towards Wednesday's goal too. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all, and now I get to be embarrassed in front of a Grammy nominated artist. So thank you guys. Thank you.
Oh man, please don't be embarrassed.
Speaking of the Grammy nomination, like what's that like? Did you end up going to the Grammys, or did you? Please tell us your
Well,
experience.
well, first of all, to be nominated for a Grammy, period, I still can't even believe it. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
felt amazing for it to be for a piece of work from my family's legacy. It was a song, that my dad wrote. And it was, my first really big step into the industry.
Wow.
So that just meant a lot to me. It really let me know that um, I can do this, that I'm built for it, that I can really, make a difference in this world and, make a statement. Um, and, just, I don't know, the way it sounds like Grammy nominated, that is unexplainable. I didn't go to the Grammys that year because it was during the pandemic and they did the
Oh.
Grammys virtual. So I was at home. Well, actually, I was at my manager's house,
Hmm.
and we had a whole setup, and I was sweating bullets even in the house because just to be, it was everybody was on there,
Hmm.
like it was one big Zoom call. I mean, you couldn't see everybody, but
Yeah.
you just knew everybody was there. They're looking at you, they
Right.
can see you.
Yeah.
So it was just like, wow, like I cannot believe that this is even happening. Like when I got my medal,
Mhm.
oh man, I was like, oh man, like I don't want to take this off, but
That.
it was such an amazing feeling though.
Yeah, yeah, that is wild. I mean, I think that any musician, at least that grows up here in America, any American musician is, I think that's what they're going for at some point. Like
Yeah,
even if they're like I'm punk rock and I'm anti-establishment, yeah, anybody being recognized for the things that they create. I mean, people like that. I know there's certain people out there who's like, ew, get that away from me, but still
yeah.
it's still an amazing honor, and it's definitely sought after. So then are you trying to go back for more, or what? You trying to do it again? You trying to go home with the gold? What's going on?
Absolutely. Listen, I got a long ways to go in this industry. So definitely looking forward to winning Grammys, Stellars, Dove Awards.
Heck yeah.
One of my dreams is to win a Tony Award. I don't even know if a lot of people know what that is, but
Oh yeah.
I'm really into acting. I want
Oh
to be in a movie one day, a TV
yes.
show one day. So
Yes.
I definitely want to win a Tony Award for something. I don't know. I just
If anybody doesn't
um,
know what a Tony Award is, what we give here in America for like Broadway musicals and stuff like that, right?
yes,
Is it just
yes.
musicals though? Is it's
Well,
plays? What is it?
it's plays, musicals. Of course, I believe they have composers, and a few other categories. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's all based around like the
the
theater.
theater.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Yes.
We got Carrot Top's evil twin. How dare you, Naders? How dare you?
Oh
You better
man,
take
that
that
is
back.
hilarious.
Take it back right now. I am not a ginger. Everybody better stop with these ginger jokes, okay? Um, but that's so awesome. So acting. Have you done any acting? Have you tried? Have you done any plays?
Yes, I have done a lot of acting.
Oh, cool.
Well, I guess I can start by saying, growing up, my mom was the lead character in this show, maybe for about 3 years. A good friend of our family, or my mom's side of the family, she was a playwright.
Wow.
And my mom was the she was the lead role. So I would be in it as well. Whether I was very young, so whether it would be a kid holding his mom's hand walking across the stage, or being in different scenes, like just an extra
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was young, so and then after I grew up a little bit, we did the show again. I did, I had some more roles that were bigger. Um, and then I believe I sang some background vocals a little bit, not too much. Of course, I was still young. But then, moving, fast forwarding. Well, actually, I can say this: when I was about 3 or 4 years old, I was a part of this theater program, for young kids, and we all got the chance to audition for Broadway,
Oh, cool.
for The Lion King on Broadway and The Color Purple. Purple. Um,
Nice.
for The Lion King, I came in second of all the kids to play young Simba when I was
Oh
younger, so I
man.
didn't get it. But I have vague memories of that audition to this day. I remember that was an amazing experience. I was an extra in Spider-Man 3, so if you ever watch Spider-Man 3, look
Let's
for your boy.
let's go.
It's hard to spot, but
Let's.
look for your boy.
Wait a second. So that Spider-Man 3 is Tobey Maguire still, right? The
Yes,
Tobey
yes,
Maguire
Tobey
ones.
Maguire
All
with
right.
Venom and
Yeah.
all them people in there. Yeah. um,
Yes. Let's go. Now we're all gonna be like looking for Melvin. Like, where is he? Where? What scene are you in? So people
I'm
can look.
sorry, you probably never find me. I'm so hard to spot,
Oh.
but
Did you
um,
spot yourself? Have you found?
I I think I did because I remember what I was doing,
Ah, yeah.
and I kind of saw the action in the. It was way in the background, but I remember we were there. I think that was one of my first checks I ever got as a kid. Like,
Ooh, heck
I mean, I
yeah.
don't think it was much, but it was just hey, I'm a kid. I got a check for doing something cool. So,
Right? No, that's
um,
whatever the amount is, that's still awesome. I mean, even if I get paid like $20 for just playing a tune or something, I'm still like, wow, that's
right,
fun. That's
right,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Wiz. It's the African American version of the
Oh
Wizard
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oz.
The Wiz with Michael
Yes,
Jackson.
with
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Yes. So
Yes.
there's of course, the Broadway version of that, the musical. I played the line in the Wiz like 4 times when I was in high school, um, which was really fun. Got to sing and dance. I played Donkey and Shrek the Musical with this local theater program, which was really fun. And I did a couple other things, different local plays. I did some singing and stuff like that. So that's pretty much
Yeah.
my
So
acting thing right there.
so do you see yourself trying to like, you know, leverage your success into acting? Is it something like, maybe it's like, hey, I'm Grammy nominated, baby, put me on, like I want to be on,
If
the
I can be very
TV.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely don't want to.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to be one to go through the entire screening process, the
Mm,
audition process. I want to have the entire feeling because I just wanted to feel, authentic.
yeah.
That I actually, I don't want to go off of, titles. Titles are not a thing with me. They don't matter. I'm grateful for everything that I'm afforded and allowed to do.
Yeah.
All the merits and all the the building of the resume. It's absolutely amazing, but to do something just the right way and just like everybody else would be more than fine with me.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, Reina in the chat is she said ease on down the road, but I think she's referencing the Wiz. But she also said that she loves that, and the audition process is the best. She's an actress as well, and
That's awesome.
and she's a musician first. She's a singer songwriter, but then she not too long ago started getting involved in a theater here in the region, and and she was like it reinvigorated her uh her nervousness, her because as a musician, like you just it's not like you become numb to the feeling of performing and all that, but it does you sort
Yeah.
of do build up sort of this there's sort of this resistance isn't the right word, but the resistance to the amount of energy that you. I'm saying that all wrong. It turns into a job, not like an office job, but it turns into something that you're used to it. You know what you're doing. It becomes second nature, and it kind of loses excitement, even though it doesn't. It's always fun to go
Hmm.
play and stuff, but like it kind of
Yeah.
loses that like that feeling it gives you when you first start out and stuff, and you're just like everything's brand new. So to her, it was like this reinvigorating of her creative of flow.
Absolutely.
So like because she was terrified. She was
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it's
Yeah. No, I mean, with acting, it's like it's everything you do, and I'm sure she can attest to this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but every role that you go for and that you want to read for, it's a different persona. It's a
mm,
different person. Like how would you embody that? What you're given,
mm,
and so that's always like an exhilarating experience.
yeah,
Like can I really come out of just who I am to portray this person and give the feeling, make people really feel what I'm giving off. Like,
yeah,
can you feel like that? Am I me or am I not me?
yeah,
Basically. So yeah, I
yeah.
definitely understand that
Yeah, I mean
for
it's
sure.
it's so I mean I like the idea that idea of acting is terrifying to me. Like I don't want anything to do with it, but it's like I tried a little bit, but but I would love to see Melvin, like on some like sitcom or something, like just that would be so cool to see you do that.
Oh man.
But so
Hopefully one day you'll get to see it.
well,
Hopefully,
I mean
yeah.
you're still young, man. How old are you? If you don't
I'm
mind.
25.
25. Wow. 25.
Yeah.
You have lived an entire life, Melvin Crispell. You have so then I mean at this point, would you even have time or the energy or the want to start auditioning, or are you really focused on the music right now?
I'm really focused on music right now. I'm just really trying to still build this career, but I don't want to wait till I'm finished building this career to start.
Right.
So I think maybe within the next maybe 2 years,
Hmm.
I'll probably be like, hey, while I'm doing this, let me try to come over here and
Yeah.
see what I can pull off.
Dip the
So
toe, man. Dip the toe.
yeah, yeah.
It's okay. So then you do have a live recording that you did in Dallas that's coming out on October 15th. And oh my gosh, I am such a bad host. Everybody go
No.
go make sure that you are following Melvin. There's his is it? Oh yeah, there's his website, his Instagram. You can find all this information on all his music, everything he's up to. Make sure you guys are following him, and if you're listening on the audio side, make sure you go in the show notes and click around and support your boy Melvin, and let him know that we want to see him on the next sitcom, the next big sitcom. But the
So
live,
wait,
oh
quick
please,
correction.
oh my bad.
Quick correction. So my live recording is on October 15th. It
Oh
probably won't be out until no, you're good.
my
It
bad.
probably won't be out until like spring
Okay,
of
spring
next
next year.
year.
Okay, okay. So
But
then,
yeah, I will be recording live October 15th. So if
okay.
anybody's in Texas, Dallas, Texas area, and you want to just come have an experience, maybe get to know Jesus, just have a good time in a great atmosphere. I'm excited to have you there. So
Yeah.
come on down, come on down.
Oh yeah, please do. And I mean, it's just that's the thing about again. I'm gonna say it about gospel music is like you don't have to be the biggest, hugest believer in God or anything. It helps, but to appreciate it. But I mean, it certainly helps to have the faith there too. But I mean, again, I'm not the most religious human being in the world, but I love gospel music, and obviously, I'm not like the hugest fan. I don't know everybody's name, but everything. But like, if
Yeah.
I will just put on a playlist like on Spotify. I just put on a gospel playlist at work because it's just It's positive, uplifting. It's powerful. It has all the chops that make me go, ooh, like, ooh, like, because it has everything I need to really enjoy some music. So like, if even if you're not the most religious person, I definitely suggest you go check out Melvin's music. First of all, go check out Melvin, then go dive into some gospel. I mean, your latest album is just, it's just powerhouse after powerhouse, and
Oh
the
man,
vocals are so on point, man.
thank you.
I really, really respect what you're doing, and I really, really appreciated that you took the time out of your day to talk to us and to me
Well,
and our
thank
community
you.
here. Yeah.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. This was like super fun. Like,
I'm so,
yeah, super
I'm,
fun.
I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself, Melvin. Thank you so much for coming on. And again, everybody, make sure that you're going and follow Melvin at melvincrispell.com. His Instagram's there. And again, if you're listening in the audio version of this podcast, make sure you're in the show notes. Everybody, put your hands together for Melvin Crispell. Everybody, thank you so much, Melvin. You have a wonderful
Thank
rest
you
of your
guys.
day.
You too. Have a great one.
All
Peace
right,
out.
guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Melvin Crispell, everybody. Melvin Crispell. What a fucking gentleman. Oh, I saved all of that. I've been holding